How did I start? High school, quiet kid, nothing to do, just reading.
For me, it was 92 when we had battles at the Paul Kruger Square, sessions like at Tramshed also.
We used to have these sessions at the library, and that's where everybody used to go, Buddhists, poets, rappers. And then we used to have like ciphers on Fridays, and I'd participate in ciphers as well.
I think my earliest memories were the high school scene, probably around 96, 97. We were at Willow Ridge High School, and there were some kids from St. Albans who cut a video. They were called Verbal Assassins, and HP was part of that.
I was in the choir, so I mean, you know, if you're in a choir, you're like in a mass family. We were always, all of us, always singing. For me, it was just like it's the norm. Everybody sings when they're happy or whatever.
I had a friend of mine, he was a year ahead of me, who would compete with me at everything. He got me my first DMX CD, Ja Rule. He would just buy these things and say, yo, man, go listen. It wasn't until I left high school and I had these CDs that I thought, let me try something. He passed away. I went to his funeral, and he had some stuff that we had done on tape, and I guess that set it off.
We had a whole lot of rappers and 2 or 3 producers with no real studios, and just people were frustrated because that was when Johannesburg was actually making its stamp of approval hip-hop wise. It was almost like a formal meeting, like this is what we need to do as a group, because that was the only way it would come up.
What you gonna do? You caught up in a mix up. If the boss is opposing you, I suggest you better think fast. What you gonna do? You caught up in a mix up. If the boss is opposing you, I suggest you better think fast.
I enjoyed my Pretoria day because it was like this little gold mine when no one knew about, the Joburg DJs would never come out. The scene was like on its own level with its own people.
Pretoria for about a good year was like a second home. I stayed with my grandmother in Tembisa for about a year. And Tembisa is literally like 15-20 minutes away from Pretoria.
They say Cap City, Rap City, never a whack city. It's the Cap City, Fat City, never
people
a
were cool,
whack
man.
city.
There was friends, not fellow rappers, not whatever. There was friends.
Gotta keep it real when I stand still. What the hell you gonna do when I'm with the anvils? Everybody know when the mics be approached quick. What you gonna do? The show is promoted by Roach Inc. Fuck it, this is the way we rap quickly. Everybody know this is for Rap City. Because you wanna know I'm being gone, but I'm finally back. This is microphones we hold. Let them recite the poem one piece on, and it's way beyond rap. Microphones we hold.
Trees that are green. I feel like I got to Capcity when the scene was almost like a ripe fruit. It's ripening, and it's almost like I got swallowed in that because there weren't at the time many vocalists, When I got here, I knew of Fifi.
Wake up, time is talking. Rejoice, His word has come.
I guess South Africa in 2000, when Squatter Camp and them were coming out with the Rao Raos. For me, being in high school, it was, okay, this rap thing is pretty cool, and yeah, we all grew up on really, really good music.
Everyone just decided, what, if I'm performing, I'm gonna try to put my man in, and he's gonna try to put that man in, and we're gonna come with a whole package. That's why when things like the State Theatre gigs came up, everyone was like a united clique, where we all knew the purpose of this was to build an industry within an industry, and then from there I think everything kind of took off.
State theatre wasn't even happening then. There was a place called Things and Times before it moved to where it is now. It was just really ad hoc shows, you know, like there were not a lot of proper shows.
There was a club though called Club Jive that was in Sunnyside. That was basically our version of League Club.
It was a studio session. I think we were doing a track called Not Tonight. I think either that track or another track, but like those sessions, it was in that particular week that we coined the name Capcity Rhapsody. It sounded quite lame when you'd hear a cat like Doomy call it P-Town, or you know, like, are we a piss city?
We used to go to gigs together and they didn't know the individual names, so just say Capcity's coming. You know what I mean? From that, it became the name of the city. Yeah, it was Bafosa, it was Damola, it was Urban Militia, it was Pressure Point, it was Underground, it was Rebel Nation.
I picture myself growing up or learning what I learned in Joburg, for example. I don't think I'd be as touching, because one thing Pretoria has taught me is to be relevant. Like when you speak, you really need to be relevant.
And no matter where I go, who I meet and what I do, this will always be a safe haven to come to. My place.
You could put Capcity tracks on compilation disc and you would think that there's a difference, you know what I mean? We're talking about here, we're talking about our own things. You could pick it up from what they're talking about. They're talking about Sunnyside, you know, like they're talking about here. They're talking about themselves. They're talking about being African. It's not a copy. It's just that we got fundamentals and we're running with those fundamentals, you know what I mean? Because there are fundamentals to it.
I remember C Live. He used to have these Tuesdays at 7 p.m. I think. I always used to listen, and he'd play a whole lot of records. And when a Capcity joint came on, you know, we knew that
we were authentic. That's how I can actually start it. We were authentic. We were influenced by our surrounding. People would argue with me when they say it's Jersey. At the same time, we start off with being choral. The hummings, the movement of being religious actually like influence also hip-hop in Pretoria itself.
Pretoria was very heavily influenced by what was happening in New York in 94. And that's why the sound came out very sort of organic and boom bap. At around the same time, Cape Town had the whole industrial movement, you know, just sounded very, you know, big beats that had a whole lot of different sounds, very industrial and very abstract raps, whereas Joburg was more commercial with a bit of a Kwaito influence. So it's difficult to call any form of hip-hop the real hip-hop, because when hip-hop started, that 94 era wasn't around.
all we knew is this is how something should be done. If you're going to do it, you do it proper. And at the end of the day, this is what you come up with. It was never, you know, new age or boom bap. It just so happened that the new age hadn't, you know, infiltrated.
I'd start with guys like Bafosa naturally.
We met at a mosque because we used to pray at the same mosque the Friday, you know, mass prayers. And I remember we decided, yo, we all rap, we all dope, me and my little brother.
Yeah.
AQ and Hakeem.
I like the fact that people thought we were quite the group, because then like you supersede all expectations, you know what I mean? Like all expectations that they had the wrong expectation to begin with, and then you give them dope music and it's like the most amazing performance they've ever seen.
I can very honestly say that the Independence Day mixtape was one of the best projects I've ever had. I still play it, I still got it. It was just so amazing. The chemistry between Mike, Beth and Inve was something that nobody could touch.
There was Ade Damola, who was really dope.
From the start, I kept my shit banging. Spit mathematics, my style is 1 from 11. That's a 10 for my slow brothers and sisters. I'm here to resurrect the game like Easter.
I got myself. I think I'm pretty hot. A lot of people need to listen to my music and listen to the lyrics that I put out there. I think they're pretty strong.
Can't stop, I keep pushing. Won't stop, I keep pushing. Won't give up, kid. I keep pushing. I keep pushing. I keep pushing.
It's a real cold world that you're living in. When you go hard before giving in. And them so-called brothers go show colors. Shades of black I'm not familiar with. And
One.
Let's go, son.
Okay. Flex boogie.
That's it.
And why you gotta say things like that? And why you wanna leave all this for that? A room for bad, but take for tax because of the fact he got stacked. Excuse me, miss, for real, he ain't got all that.
It was all fueled by music created by Nyams, primarily. There were other producers. What happened was that everybody would be at Nyam's place. He set the tone of the hip-hop scene in PTA. He made the beats. Other producers, including myself, would go to his place and get his drum sets and sample from his vinyls.
Prior to knowing him through a guy called Spiso, known as Sudan, he would come to like my place and play me like his beats, and I was like, wow. I've never heard anyone make music like that in this country till today.
I grew up in the Free State, like, well, at least my high school. With a friend of mine called Kiket, so we started, like, he used to rap and like he needed beats, so there wasn't any hip hop scene, nobody was making beats, so it was pretty much a kind of like self-taught thingy. I liked a lot of, I guess, golden era hip hop, like probably from, let's say, between 88 and 2000. A lot of Slick Rick, a lot of like Gangsta, Pete Rock, CL Smooth, De La Soul. Outside of hip hop, I did like funk and soul music a lot, and I did see Tapela, like Ramatlodi. He was like, I think he used to rap under the name of Melanin. He was like the founder of like Fropic Records at the time. It's a little independent like label.
I used to like rock, you know, like hit raps and shit like that. And like he came up to me once and he was like, "You listen to hip hop?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, I make music as well." And he was running his production company called Haunted Fort Productions with the Scepter.
Mamelodi, Atridrill, or you know, Sunnyside had different sounds to what the camp that we worked with were putting out. That's what people were exposed to. But like I think for Pretoria, there was always like a variety.
My childhood was mostly in the Congo and in Mozambique, a bit of Nigeria. So if you listen to the music, they're very influenced by drums and bass. I love drum and bass.
I match the kicks with the up downs. Then it's sloppy. She might miss, so she hit now. Shorty tryna rock me.
I guess I got blessed to meet the right producers. I mean, I worked with so many different guys that I put on the world stage. I mean, they're here right now, but I consider them the best in the world. People that no one knows, like Wax, for example, Fluid, Nyams. There's so many cats. That exposure to them forced me to go outside of the box and do something totally different with my music as well. So it helped me grow.
Always wanted to go against the grain and become not just a producer that does hip-hop. I wanted to be a musician and start off by pushing a whole lot of people that you've never really thought of working with. Your Nyambos were the ones that actually like influenced some of my change in producing, because they did a particular style and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to do my own type of sound.
I'd never been given a beat in my entire life, and here's this guy that I just met. He's like, "Yo, I've got this beat that I made. Do you want to sing on it?"
AQ heard my beats and Hakeem heard my beats, and I told him, like, "Yo, I don't have a writer for these beats." And you know, memory sticks were not the in thing at the time. There were no memory sticks. And I remember AQ bringing a CD-R to exchange it on my computer just so he can write the beats out and export them. so we can, so they can start writing and recording to these things. So those are the first guys that I heard on my joint. Ever since then, geez, I've worked with quite a few guys. People like Boy Wonder, Flex Boogie, Bafoza, Anvils, the AQ and 13 project.
Y'all know what this is? It's the dopest thing to happen on earth since breath. You must have this. It's a must. Does everybody have this?
My introduction to Capcity Hip Hop was really through Mizi, the former editor, being from PTA. He really schooled me on Capcity Hip Hop because it wasn't really mainstream, the artists weren't widely known, we didn't know what was happening, and he just put us on to this like phenomena of awesome, authentic hip-hop music,
06, Fungai had left the magazine and Yams forced me to send my application. For about a week, he just kept calling me, telling me, did you apply? Did you call them? Did you call them? I called the people because I didn't want Yams to keep calling me. My first instinct was to say, cool, I've been pushing this PTA movement. Here's a platform for me to further push it.
We've always tried to make a plan to accommodate Capcity MCs, and I think that was brought in really by Mizi. There wasn't really a bias, it was more of a sound that he liked because he was from PTA.
My first couple of issues, I must say, were definitely focused on the PTA scene.
People would always say, yeah, he's biased towards Capcity, but Mizi had a good ear. He had a very good ear for music, being a producer. I mean, he was on the summer-nominated Tear Gas album. They're not from PTA, they're from Soweto. So what does that say?
Doing my bit to expose PTA hip-hop backfired on me personally, but it did help, in a way to put PTA on the map.
They let people know, like, if you don't see them on TV, we got them here. If you see them in State Theatre, we got them here. If you go to a shop and try and find the music and you can't find it, we have it here.
I only am what I answer to. Bark is the meanest, asking where the meat is, grab it and eat it just like a dog would do. It's probable. Never seen one as hungry as I is. No wonder why you would hurry to call me that bitch.
I was met with a bit of disappointment when it came to Super because she had so much promise. Fungai had really invested a lot into her because he thought, here's this woman, she's going to blow up.
A lot of people were like very concerned, like, why are you deserving, blah blah blah. Like, dude, I don't freaking know, né? But like, deal with it, it's happened. Oh, super. So how many joints have you got? 5. Oh, so you got no album. Oh, so you still made the cover. Yeah, and so had it not been for me on the cover of Hype, we would never have had a female rapper on the cover of Hype. And to this day, people are still not finding anybody deserving, and there's a lot of people that are deserving. So I think because of that, it was just for the fact that at least South Africa had that one cover that was a female.
Now my flow singing and score pictures of poor sisters. Hoping from this one flow I get riches. Open to the ideas with no glitches. A pair of sunglasses you need to see my vision. Whack ass diminished to whack raps when I finish. But when I get this because it's one of the illest. Don't consider this a pastime, it's a business. When I'm in it, you put it like grandpa. Oh, the headache from sick flows. When I rhyme, it shows. The mic a pistol, don't piss me off.
Roach Inc. played a very big role in terms of creating a structure for Pretoria hip hop.
We never strayed from what we had initially wanted to do, was to take a street guy and give him a name. Before you realized, guys were on Channel O's, guys were on ETVs, guys were everywhere through the platform that we created. We met with the artistic director and said, yo, listen, the people that you currently catering to, they're actually sort of nearing the end of their life, if you want to call it. What's going to happen with State Theatre in the next 10 to 15 years?
There was that vibe that you went there for hip-hop. It was more than about the artist, but more about the hip-hop and more about Pretoria saying, look, we are here and this is our home ground, so we're going to do what we do best.
State Theatre gigs was when it was dying. That's when people were starting to catch up, but that's when it was actually going down.
A lot of people started coming there, and majority of which was just a bunch of shorties who didn't really know anything about hip-hop, but they were just there because they heard, like, there's cats rapping and whatnot, and dudes stopped coming there to rap, it started becoming like a place to network and, do all unplanned parties and things like that, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't about hip-hop anymore.
Once upon a time in Africa.
I think for the longest of time, I've always hoped that they'll be like, they always seemed like they were united. They always looked, united. Because I remember the first time, even when I put them on from Back to the City, I think it was about like 6 MCs.
The whole of Capcity was on stage. Sure, it was an inspirational musical death and revival at the same time.
Decline is a rather harsh word, but let's call a spade a spade. It was a decline compared to about 5 years ago. There were so many home studios where the music was being made. Nyams, Trompi, the cats out in the east of Pretoria, cats in the hood, Mamelodi, cats like Toxic Soul. The synergy between that and the shows, you had the State Theatre, you had shows at Jack Buddha in Mamelodi, and then it pretty much disintegrated.
Because of a cause, you stick together. It's almost like the kids of 76. For a cause, you stick together to achieve this one thing. Once that cause was founded, we hadn't really prepared for what was to come next, because what was to come next was also engraven in the industry.
In a community of young cats, especially in recreation and arts, in their 20s, because at that time, it was a movement of almost 20-somethings. After 3, 4, 5 years, they grow up, they have kids, they graduate school, they get promoted at work, they are better at whatever they were doing, they move on.
Growing up says, gotta get a job, this rap thing is not happening. Then you get your father coming to you and saying, well, I think you should relook this music thing, and you're like, oh, okay, sure.
People need to realize that we're trying to build futures. Why should I please a guy that has a 9-to-5 or whatever that comes from a family that's well off, and I must be broke? He must like my music. I mustn't compromise because I'm trying to please him, but he's not giving me a cent. Doesn't make sense. What's good for the goose must be good for the gander.
You had that, that progression that we have to move on, but exactly how, it was never discussed. Everyone just, split their separate ways.
It was becoming monotonous, and it wasn't a true reflection of what the sound of the city, was.
I'd hit the ceiling in that era. I didn't want to be defined by anything in the city, or by a sound that you got to hear me first with. It has to be justice to me first, you know what I mean? I have to enjoy the music that I make. That's the only way you're going to enjoy what I make.
How are you going to make money when you can't even separate artists from a city? You just say Cap City and there's a million of you. That thing took us as far as it could, and then you guys must go out and spread your wings. I think it was a great platform. The people that are complaining are the people that didn't really maximize or take advantage, or didn't really have that much talent, or they didn't grab the people as much to go further. They got their time. It's time for people who really, really can make a difference to do it.
What I would like to see is more of a progression, but not more of the same thing that Roach Inc. was doing, but now put together gigs, pay guys, you know what I mean, and let it be a profitable business for everyone involved. And that's how the game is going to go.
Damages, amateurs who be casting this lyrical pro, who's laced with more cuts than bandages, who plays it with a passion, it's carrying rhymes that are cancerous, spreading faster than gossip within the taxi passages.
I met Macbeth in 2004 at a party. We were involved in a cypher at the point in time, and we liked each other's synergy in terms of the raps.
We did a track called Grand Champions. It was Jump Off, if I say so myself. And we just thought, okay, let's do more tracks, and then we ran with it.
Released the first project, Independence Day, which people did not know that Les was also he was involved.
It was actually in Vey that came along and said, yo, there's this guy, Half Pound, can get us a show here, can get us a show there. Like, oh shit, now we can get shows. Luckily, one of the first people we met this side was Nyams as well, he's a god in the city, you know what I mean?
I felt like he was in a similar mold to Les, in the sense that he was known as a lyricist, but he just had this charisma and this personality that we did want to try and exploit, and he was like, no, I'm going to do this group thing with Andrews. He had about a year to do it, to actually prove to himself and family or whatever that this is something that he can do, and it probably didn't have the results in terms of things that maybe his parents would be looking to be like, okay, you have our support, you can do this or whatever. So he did have to leave.
The decision comes at a time where I'm almost done with my studies at university and stuff, you know. So the folks are still not trying to hear this, oh, you want to rap? I mean, that's as good as me saying I just want to be famous. You know what I mean? They don't quite understand it. You must understand it's parents who kind of live through that transition. They don't fight so hard for you to go rap. That's rap, you know? I'm supposed to be a doctor or an architect or something they fought for, you know? So I left. I left. That's the long and short of it.
I took it personally when he left, like I'm sure all his fans did, and it was so sad. Here's this talented guy, and like he's leaving and he's going into venture into something totally left field, you know, from hip hop. So it was quite sad, you know. But apparently he's coming back, so we'll see what happens.
When I stay on the mic, you might as well expect some more extra raw shit. Team accepting drawers, extra ones, the list of all stars who play your name on rap. You had your Jackson shot, and now I'm letting lie. I exemplify that truth that's rhyme. I start killing the streets executioner style. So excuse me your pop, sound cocky when I say this. It's just
I expect an Enville's project to come out still, you know what I mean, with Macbeth in the picture. And a couple of features there, you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know. He said to me that he wants to get back to music, so that was a bit exciting, and that's before I got on stage. And I think a part of the excitement on that stage was because he told me he's getting back into music. Don't nobody do it like Macbeth, man. Nobody. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you at. Just like I keep telling people, there's no better rapper than Tamola in the world.
The war's 21st century and ancient change. Post-colonialism, most things are still the same. Imperialism, economics, and religion. Democracy, missionaries, and the gun. Nowadays they got nukes. I don't know. The world is in the hands of certified crews.
The problem in Capcity is procrastination.
I just feel like hip hop in Capcity is slept on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not pointing fingers at people or anything like that. I'm just looking at Capcity, and we haven't recognized our full potential.
If you want something done at home, you need to fix it yourself. If your shower breaks, you need to find a way to fix it. Go get someone to fix it. Or you can't say, my shower's broken, he's not fixing it. If you have to ask him to fix it, pay him to fix it, do whatever, get it fixed. It's the same here. You can't say they're not giving us a chance. We need to do that ourselves. I think we are capable.
Immediately when everybody started venturing out in their own, own paths and whatever, everybody kind of came back to the city with something that they've always wanted to do. You weren't just subjected to doing the jazz stuff because around the circles it's deemed as cool.
That's why I got brains like an Oxford student. I'm so fresh in a drop car cruising. The boy is an idol, all you pop stars losing. Yep.
Some guys have actually taken it further. I mean, if you listen to radio, you're gonna hear Black Liz, Raz, and Hakeem every week. Like those guys top the charts. They topped the charts for like 5 years. I don't know. And I mean, I always see their names on posters and flyers or whatever. So, I mean, Capcity's still there.
I have a band around me that, like, with the music director, and like we discuss what my sets look like and what the image looks like, and you know what I mean, like what the energy is supposed to be for certain shows, for certain events and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's very orchestrated, even though it seems not.
I think the hustle has actually grown right now than what it was back then. We can officially now do things by ourselves and not wait and say, okay, this guy's gonna do this, I'm gonna jump on that.
See a lot of people in there, they don't wanna talk no more. They don't wanna listen, they just wanna dance. They don't wanna talk no more, they just wanna dance. See a lot of people in there, they don't wanna talk no more. They don't wanna listen, they just wanna dance. They don't wanna talk no more, they just wanna dance. See a lot of people in there.
I think we're a little bit more recognizable now. We've got a slightly bigger audience than we used to. which means that there is some sort of progress with Capcity.
I write for Checker Digital, and you're seeing a lot of people come forward and say, this is our music, and we're taking everybody, but there's still that element when Envy says, I have an exclusive for you. When you listen to it, you remember those times, like, I remember Envy used to kill at the State Theatre. So there's that thing that the old school is now integrating with the new school, but at the same time, I'm glad that they're still keeping that golden era that we grew up on.
I do wish that everybody could come together and come as a united front again, but that's probably unrealistic and not really necessary. You know, like, it's good to see the individuals making moves for themselves.
It's not as easy anymore to collab with, I don't know, anyone. You have to think about where the record is going, because it's got to a point where making music and let it sit in your room is pointless.
I always tell the guys, you know, for advice, you know, I'm available. Guys have my number, they can call me, and guys do call me, you know, and we talk about certain things. But I like the fact that it's not coming from a desperate angle now. You know, it's guys who are sitting down and properly planning, you know, their career paths. And that's how you want to see it.
Capcity, I think there was people who always understood, as much as it is fun to be able to do this, there's people who actually, this is what they want to do, you know, and it's what they're doing. You know, I haven't stopped. I've tried to. Haven't. Yeah, no, I haven't stopped.
I just couldn't get away from it, man. And then I get my new Talib Kweli CD. What becomes of a dream deferred that never makes it to the surface to be seen or heard? And I'm like, oh shit, I'll tell you what happens, nigga, it eats at your soul. You know? So it was just, I realized that those reminders, they keep coming back. Just because I've grown doesn't mean my music is gonna be, I'm not that guy. I'm not your common who's gonna be giving you your whole retrospect for life type shit, no. I am just, as far as my music is concerned, don't try to raise your kids on my music. Don't turn up pretty fucked up.
Shit. Smooth operator, never glitch. You don't believe me, nigga, go ahead and ask your bitch. Alpha male shit, whenever we bring it strong. As usual, we never come short like measured porn, so be warned. If you don't get yours, you get caught. And me, I'm too tall to sell myself short. This is Capcity, where rap kids be getting slaughtered, and I'm back just to make sure the rap's still in order.
Welcome aboard our train. This train will stop at Centurion, Bedford, Marlborough, Stanton, Rosebank, and Johannesburg Bus Station. The next station is Centurion.
My mind hurts when I go to sleep. I'm in love with this music thing, I can't sleep. Now I see what they meant about the first cut. It's too deep, I think I'm falling. Somebody catch me. My mind hurts when I go to sleep. I'm in love with this music thing, I can't sleep. Now I see what they meant about the first cut. It's too deep, I think I'm falling. Somebody catch me. What went wrong? How did we go from? My mind hurts when I go to sleep. I'm in love with this music thing, I can't sleep. So my mind hurts when I go to pee. I'm in love with two women, don't wanna let none of them go. And say we're lost boys, that's what I grew up on. We are the hip hop and rock generation. If it ain't about no dough, we don't wanna know. You can't play me like you played with my Latini, no. When I was a little boy, my uncle told me, you want peace, son? Prepare for war. And now that I'm a big boy with a big gun, wishing it was still a toy.